Welcome along, it's West London VR Race 5.13, 13th race in the 5th series. It's the final race. Let's have a look at the general classification. On your left, Ned Bowen just leading Wouter Clays. Wouter Clays needing to get about 24 points more than Ned to win the series, looking out for Tom Gates, Nick Greenhalgh and James Melville also up there, but it's up to Ned to win this. Now we get off here on this circuit, a couple of riders at the back there not getting away, and that might be a technical problem, or it might just be that they were slow to take the start as we go behind the trees. Now the first section of this is 11 laps. We're up the front here. Ben Phillips, Ratio Racing, the man who gave Ratio Racing its name, of course. Ratio being Welsh for racing, so it's racing. Taking the front there, and Mark Rowbottom, also from Ratio, up the front there. As well, things changing quite quickly. Now that's a gradual slope up to this little bit here. What we go through is, if you look on the right of your screen, you'll see a map, and we're going through this sort of like a couple of hairpins now. It goes down to the bottom, and now they're coming up. Now this is the steepest ramp. We're going to go over this 11 times. It's 11 laps. This is a steep ramp. This is where you expect people to attack. You see some people getting up that much quicker than the others. We're on the first lap, so there's still quite a big bunch here. It's not thinning out, but you can see gaps on that. Now as the race progresses, we would anticipate that's halfway round a lap as we go under that banner. Remember, every time we go under that banner it's half a lap. Just before that banner, as I say, is that ramp, as we see things changing. Van Beurs, Ingmar Van Beurs at the front there, just taking a little bit of a lead. This bunch will ebb and flow. Now, as I say, that ramp there will be the place where the little attacks take place over each lap, and each time I suspect they'll drop 2 or 3 riders. That's what usually happens in these races. That's James Dix on the front there, another Welshman. Welshman really going to the fore at the moment. It's only the first lap. Then they go down this big long straight. They go around the bend that they're going around now. You can see if you look on the map on the right, and they come round to the finish, which is just before the bend, which goes back up the hill. So it's as I say, this is a long stretch up the hill now as they go through the finishing line on that bend and up the steady hill. I call this Alpe d'Huez. It's only about 10 metres climb. I mean, you see if you look down on the profile at the bottom, it doesn't even look like a hill. A little bit of sort of brown at the end. About halfway through. Then you'll see the blue where they dip down into that little sort of omega shaped set of hairpins, and they come straight back out into the brown bit, which is the, as I say, the steepest bit. So here we are, we're at the top of what I call Alpe d'Huez, and we're going to go into what I call now Omega Bend, because if you look at it sideways it looks like the Greek letter Omega. The bunch still pretty much together here. We haven't dropped too many at this stage, and probably sort of something in the region of maybe 40 riders or so in this group, thinning out a little bit as they go down to the bottom of Omega Bend, turn around into this steep bit. If you're on the back of this now, you really need to work. You don't want to get dropped on this little ramp now, or you probably won't catch up. There's the ramp just as we go up round there, and you can see it just thins out the front anyway. A couple of riders getting off the front, and we go through that halfway stage again. As you can say, a little bit thinned out. It should come together as they go round. I call this the bus pass. Lots of buses stop alongside, just on the right in real life here, and then they come down the long straight. Now along the long straight it should regroup, and you can see everything getting a little bit tighter in there as they come round towards the end of the second lap. Now, as I say, we've 9 more to do. I wouldn't read too much into this at the moment. Stimpson goes off the front, Grant Webb there at the front, Marisak up there, Doug Hart I see in 6th position there, James Dix, Johan Olofsson up there, and we've got Ingmar Van Beurs, Ben Phillips, Nicola Martinoli from Italy, who is riding for Team Italy today, sometimes rides with West London in the OTR events as well. Tim Cummins up there, having a great season. We'll wait to see him doing well. The local tracks for some of these riders, Nick Greenhalgh will know this track like the back of his hand, because this is a local circuit. It is an actual racing circuit made for bikes. These aren't roads, these are, as I say, Doug Hart does one of his typical runs off the front. We're only on lap 3 and already overtaking some of the back markers, which just shows you how fast these guys are going. Now they're going slightly uphill at the moment. This is up the Alpe d'Huez, as I call it. Hayes is the track's called Hillingdon Circuit. Hillingdon is the area, but this part of Hillingdon is Hayes, so I call it Alpe d'Huez. It's only 10 metres high, as I say. Then you dip down here, and one of the Ratio Racing guys going off the front, and there's a little bit of a team effort there from the Ratio guys. Nick Greenhalgh in there as well, and Solly, and a few of them going off, but Doug Hart in this picture at the moment, still in there. We've got who else were there? Niccolo Martinelli up there still. Ned Bowen's in there. Now Ned Bowen needs to stay in this group. Wouter Clay's in there. The two main protagonists are in this group, and this is the main thing. I don't expect them to be dropped by this group, but where they finish in relation to each other will determine this. If Ned Bowen drops off at any point, and if Wouter could win, and Ned's in group 2, as long as there's 24 riders, Wouter wins it. So as long as Ned can stay in the group, he's probably going to counter anything that Wouter does, but we'll have to watch out for that. The Ladies League has already been won by Ellen Lockett. We'll look back at that in a little while, but in the Ladies League, Gail Robinson out to fight and try and get a podium place if she can. She's got to beat Jessica Wright and Danielle Gaunt. There's, say, one podium place up for grabs there. It could be any 2 out of 3. Niccolo Martinelli's on the front. He will absolutely love this. He will absolutely love being on the front. Tim Cummins up there in 4th place. Great to see him up there as well. Tim will know this track in real life too as they come round to the end of the next lap. So this is 3 laps done. And we go into lap 4. Now this group will be thinning out, and we'll have a look at it, but it's still quite healthily big at the moment, isn't it? Look at that. Carl Journal in there as well. Mark Rowbottom, Tim Cook I see in there. Tim Cummins up the front now. Well done, Tim. Great riding. This is quite an elite group up the front here, and from right around the world as well. This is truly an international event. This will decide the series. Don't forget, in 2 weeks' time we start a series. Somebody broken down at the side there, one of the back markers. Somebody having a bit of a fallout there, drop out, technical, whatever you want to call it. But you can see this group getting finite. There's somebody on the back just struggling to stay on. As we go round, we're going to hit the ramp. That person at the back needs to get on if they're going to stay with the group into the next lap. But this is attritional. People will fall out as we go round. This is the hard bit as they sweep past one of the back markers. One of my riders actually wearing the West London kit, and they go through the halfway stage once again. Now you can see just how it thins out here. See Sutherland there in the hand cycle, absolutely fantastic. The South African 35th place there. So we've got 39 back to O'Grady. So we're just over 40 riders in this group. About 92 started, I think. We've still got 90 riders online, and we're looking about 41, 42 in this group, with Ingmar van Beurs at the back. Tom Poniatowski from Poland back there as well, I see. Roy the Rocket Neild in the group, not surprising, strong rider. And I see Jonathan Crane's in there actually. I hadn't realised he was riding. Fantastic to see Jonathan Crane in there, 37th position. So if you've never watched one of Jonathan Crane's podcasts, you should. He is one of the authorities on e-racing, and really worth watching him race. So I'm assuming he will probably broadcast this one as well. Let's hope so. Wish him well. He's a great rider too. Lovely fella from Birmingham, Alabama. So as I say, look out for his podcasts. I think he's on Twitch and Facebook and YouTube. I don't know. He's on several. He's more than one. Paul Prudell out there as we go backwards down there. Marcin Studerek, Andrew Beale. Andrew Beale's off the group. He'll be surprised at that. He will be surprised. David Buckley at 46. Great sprint on him. Peter Austin there. King Tubby. I don't think Lee Perry's entered, but when I saw we had entries from Lee Perry and King Tubby, if you're a reggae fan, you'll get that one. Tom Alsop in there at 54th, just coming round completing a lap. Lau May in there, the French rider. Tavares Bjork in the Jacek Rohrbach, the Pole, used to live around here, so we'll know this track. He lives in Poland now, but Jacek will know this. Gautam Thakkar in there, Chessman, McKinley in this little group here, Sullivan coming up to join them. They'll be working together, hopefully, to get themselves around. Carl Dickerson from South Africa, New Zealand team back there, and Castro as well. So we look at who we got: Shields, Jensen, 71st. A little bit surprised at that. Would have expected him to be further up. Lou, another South African, Grosley, with Danielle Gaunt just behind. Now Danielle is going for one of these podium places in the ladies' race, so she needs to hold on. Look at this bunch behind working together. Sorry, this is up the front here. Roy the Rocket. Oh, Gilmore's just being. Oh no, Gilmore's 77th. Sorry, Gilmore not being dropped, being passed is probably more to the point. So we've got about 29 riders. This is really thinned out. Maria Witzke from Puerto Rico riding there. She's got a little team going, and she's getting it all together in Puerto Rico, which is great. You see her 78 there. Should be quite pleased with that. We've still got 89 riders online. A few people seem to have dropped out. Jose there, also from Puerto Rico, just behind Gail Robinson. Now, Gail Robinson needs to be beating Jessica Wright and Danielle Gaunt if she's going to get a podium place. She is the current champion, and here's Jessica Wright at the back, but I don't think there's enough places between Jessica and Ada Maria Martinez, another Puerto Rican new to this, and Lisa Snell, one of our good friends, a local lady who will know this course backwards. In fact, she comes from a very cycling family locally. Husband and two sons all cycle, and that's the camera. There's somebody trying to shop the American there, obviously the dropout. Back to the front, and it's Mard, the Swede, just off the front here. And as I say, Sutherland in the hand cycle doing particularly well there. Fantastic to see. Let's just remind ourselves of the points there, and you can freeze that when you're watching it just to remind yourself of who needs to do what. But it really is, in the ladies league, it's Danielle Gaunt and Jessica Wright and Gail Robinson. She always is G-Rob on the names that you see. It's those three for second and third in the ladies competition, and it really is. There's a possibility that Jim Melville, you can see there in fourth place with the Scottish Saltire, he could do it. As you can see here, he's in third place at the moment, but it's really between Wouter Claes and Ned Bowen. So who have we got on the front? Mark Rowbottom in second place, just following solid. There's a three Ratio Racing riders on the front now. Stimson just coming in to join them, but look, this group has really thinned out. We're down to about 26, 27 riders now. This was over 40 a couple of laps ago. So you can see Christian Edge there, Poker Motion in there. Tom Gakes on the left at the back. Now Tom in his usual sit-up position. Of course, you can afford to do that. You don't have to be aerodynamic in these races, but you can always spot Tom Gakes in the red. The other rider in the red, of course, is Ned Bowen. So look out for the red kit. If they're upright, it's Tom Gakes. If they're down, it's Ned Bowen. James Melville there is just been Carl Jerdil just taking the front there. James Melville likes to go off the front, but he hasn't been allowed to. Alistair McAlpine, his teammate there, they both ride for Glasgow United. There's only two in the team. Well, I think there might be three actually. I think Stephen Cowper as well. But the two of them just score all the points, and the team is very much up there. If you go back to the rankings that we were looking at earlier, you'll see that just those two riders, they're as strong as some of the other teams. Moonrider's probably going to win the team competition here, courtesy of Wouter Claes' efforts during the series. But as I say, this group really is thinning out now, and we're over halfway, 7 kilometres to go. So we've got 4 and a bit laps. You can see we're just coming up to halfway round lap 7 as we go through the halfway stage. And Carl Jerdil from NZ Norwegian flag rides for NZ so I always assumed that Carl is based in New Zealand. Very strong team. NZ really are a strong racing force in this. Nick Greenhouse chasing up Horacio Racing. Nick, a former champion. Nick rides this all the time. He lives down the road from this course, as a few of them do. I think Tim Cummins, Andy Beale, certainly most of the West London riders live locally, so we'll actually go down this for a little spin when they feel like it. You can use it at any time, and as I say, it is a cycle racing circuit built for racing. And if you've ever heard me say this before, it all arose because they built a new road just outside where this is situated, and it was a long time before it opened because it took them years to build a bridge. So the road was there, but it wasn't used, and local cyclists used to go and race up and down this road, including a few professionals, and most famous of which was, of course, Bradley Wiggins used to race on it. And when they opened up the road, the cyclists didn't have anywhere to race, and the council decided to build this racing circuit next to where the cyclists used to race. So Bradley Wiggins sometimes pops down here, I suppose on invitation from British Cycling, to present an award or two, but it is arguably where Bradley Wiggins used to race as a young lad. Not the only one as well, I think some others did. Can't quite remember who, but certainly some of the British pros who grew up in this area will have raced there. So back to our race, 5 and a bit kilometres to go, as we're coming up to about halfway round Sutherland there in the hand cycle. It's great that RGT have provided the ability to put those on screen, and I'm delighted that one's taking part, actually. I know they used to I mean, I have been involved in trying to run a hand cycling event at this venue, and it's very, very difficult to get a lot of riders, but RGT allows them to participate alongside the guys on upright bikes, which is fantastic. Doug Hart in third position there. Ignore Leonida is not going to be included in the results because the output's too high, and without a bio passport, it's not going to be included. Carl Jerdel is on the front. Leonida is in second place at the moment, but as I say, Leonida is not going to qualify, so just exclude them from the race. Exclude him from the race footage. He's not going to be included in the results. Lahm, the Dane, out the front there at the moment, with Nick Greenhalgh closely following. Carl Jerdel effectively third. Tim Cook, Doug Hart, Wouter Claes in there, Jim Melville, Tim Cook, Mark Rowbottom, Ostergood, another Dane, McCarthy, Slovenian, I think, Ned Bowen in 12th place. So Ned in there, he just needs to make sure that he's in the group, and he should eliminate any possibility of Wouter Claes winning the series. Wouter extremely unlucky, he was almost a shoe-in for the series, but had that unfortunate collapse of his machine during the last race, leaving him 67th and allowing Ned to nip in and take first position. And this is part of the excitement. You always feel sorry for people who have these dropouts, but I can tell you we had a load of them. We were doing a team time trial at West London last night, and we had several, and it really messed up our time, and we decided not to rerun it. We just decided that was part of the fun, and our result will stand rather than rerun it. Nick Greenhalgh pushing off the front, being trailed by Leonida, but we're not going to count him. Wouter Claes, Maroon Riders coming through. That's no doubt James Melville going off the front, attacking on that little ramp again. Now we've only got a couple of laps after this, so time is running out for these riders, and the group's sort of thinning out a little bit. Tom Gates in there, currently well up there in the rankings in the general classification too. James Melville in third. He will want that podium position, yet another trophy for his shelf. So Ned Bowen has accumulated a few of these as well as the group gets away. John Sammer in there, pleased to see him riding up there. He's been a part of these races for years, so fantastic to see him in this little group. And who else have we got in there? Ben Phillips still in there, Ratio Racing name maker. Cervelo in there, another Moon Riders rider. So down to about what have we got? 20. Let's try to see. We've got about sort of 21, 22 riders in there at the moment. So coming round. We've got 2 laps left after they come round to do this last little bit. They're coming down the main straight now. Grant Webb there as we go back down the. I can see who's in there. Andrzej Krzyzewski farther back than you'd expect him. Nicolo now, he's had his moment of glory on the front, but he'll be pleased with 37 place. Imar van Beurs there, Carlos Negro, Paul Pudel from Germany. We see Grady, Tom Poniatowski and Marcin Schulerek all in there. David Buckley way back 49th. He's riding with Simon Miller. Fantastic to see Simon Miller from Southborough District Wheelers in there. Lovely fella. In fact, Nick Greenhalgh, myself and a couple of others, Ellen Lockett was there, all rode down to Southborough District Wheelers Bike Festival during the summer, so we could meet all the guys from Southborough. So it was fantastic. Met Simon Miller and Julian Fussell and a few others, and they had an RGT racing tent there where you could actually go on the bikes. Jacek Rohrbeck, my old friend, Gautam Thacker in there. Jacek Rohrbeck, fantastic to see him wearing the West London kit from back from the days when he used to live around here, but firmly entrenched in Poland now. Nicolo is there again. Castro, Jensen a bit further back, as I think I said earlier. And what about the ladies? That's what we want to know. There's Danielle Gaunt in 75th. Looks like she's leading for the ladies. Gail Robinson back in 79th. And there's Maria in 80th. So I don't think... Jessica's in 82nd. That will keep Jessica in 3rd place. Lisa Snell at the back there. And that's me, of course, filming. So let's go back to the front. We've got just over 1 lap left as we come round to complete the 10th lap. And Leonardi disregarding. So Doug Hart on the front there. Carl Jerdal. Who else we've got? John Samet putting in a little bit of a show on the front. He's got the GBR kit on there, the blue shorts, white shirt with GBR written across the back in red, and Bob Miller there for 3R no pins, and a couple of 3R no pins riders in there I can see. The other one Stimpson, of course, and there's Ned Bowen in the red just in the bottom left. He just needs to sit there. Moon Riders wear the white jersey with the green and yellow stripe around the chest. So if you're looking for Wouter Clays, that's him there in the middle of the screen. Off the front now is, I think that's Nick Greenhalgh going away there. And no, Nick Greenhalgh is in 4th position. So that's probably Mark Rowbottom, I'm guessing, up in 1st position. And at the moment, Leonard... ignore that. We take Greenhalgh in front. Oh, somebody else is going off the front at the side. It's another one of the Ratio riders. That's stirring things up a little bit. It is on that little ramp. As I say, that's where the attacks go. You've got to do this on the last lap. On the last lap, you can actually drop somebody potentially for the rest of the riders. We go back down past the bus pass. We're going to turn in to the final straight. Doug Hart now racing away on the front. As you can see, the messages on the side. Nobody's chasing Leonida because it's well known on the circuit that his readings are wrong. So nobody in the front group is actually chasing Leonida. They're all racing amongst themselves. You can see that on the messages from the riders because, as I say, this situation's well known. So the race you're watching, basically Tom Gates at the front there just at this moment. And Doug Hart in 7th going for it now. Doug Hart's a strong rider. Wouter Clay's really going for it. Has he left it late? He's left it late, hasn't he? He's left it far too late. So Wouter Clay's doesn't quite make it over. And I think we can assume with Ned Bowen in 14th there that Ned Bowen has won the series. So Wouter Clay's with an amazing sprint at the end, but not enough to take the title. And Ned Bowen wins it for the 2nd time in his career. You can see Ned just pulling over at the side there. Nick Greenhalgh takes the win. Fantastic. He'll be delighted with that on his home circuit. And let's have a look at some of the other riders coming in. Lynn now coming in 23rd, and Carl Dixon is just ahead of him, but a lap behind, of course, in 54th. So as we look at Lynn coming in 23rd, and he's... well, it's Christian Edge at 24th. I'm a little bit surprised at that. Christian's usually one of our stronger riders, but 24th, he's not far behind, I suppose. Andy Beale a lap behind. I mean, something's gone wrong. Andy is usually higher up than that. So, and he knows his circuit. He lives locally, so something's gone wrong. James Dix coming in 25th place. The Welshman picking up some points there. Roy the Rocket Neild coming in 26th. These riders not far behind the mainstream. Mike Wareham there coming in. Oystrom, Andrew Krajewski, Tim Cummins coming in. Carlos Negro and Riak. I'm assuming is that Richard Riak? I presume it is actually. I don't know. But Arnhem just going past him to take 35th position. Riak coming out. I think that's Richard Ring. Frankie Urbana, one of the Team Italia riders, wearing Savoy blue there, and he's coming in with 37th, very respectable. And Nicolo Martinelli also in that Savoy blue for Team Italy. Ingmar van Bers, Peter Austin and Simon Miller just coming in there, as we can see in this little group. Will there be a bit of Marcin Schluderek in the group as well? Paul Poodle, I think, part of it. So Caruso as well from ADR in that Italian Savoy, and Caruso taking it. Gordon Jackson absolutely powering as they come up to the finishing line, and Peter Austin now in the next one. Simon Miller just finishing 4th in that group. Marcin Schluderek. David Buckley, who's got a very powerful sprint now, will look to outsprint the guys just next to him, as he's in fact I think they're probably not necessarily in the same positions. We shall see. David Buckley at 49th. He's getting past, but that's only because he's past the finishing line and he's automatically being slowed. So people picking up points here, but the gaps aren't that big, are they? I mean, for most people. King Tubby here, as I say, it's a shame Lee Perry. Look, King Tubby doing absolutely superbly. I think the real King Tubby is dead, actually. I think he was shot years ago. Reggae producer, as I was saying earlier. We did have an entry from Lee Perry, who's another famous reggae producer. These are obviously not the real people, because one's from Australia and Lee Perry's from Scotland, so neither of them actually from Jamaica. If anybody's called Robert Marley, please enter next time round as Healy comes in. Hanson, Tom Alsop just pulling through there. Harry Smits, love this guy, great sense of humour. Quite often waves when he's on camera, but he doesn't really know when he's on camera. Andy Bill, disappointed with 59th. I mean, he's had a strong season, and we'll probably see that as a little bit disappointing. Something's probably happened, might have just got dropped on one of those ramps. He's just slowing down a little bit towards the finish, I guess, because somebody in 71st has just overtaken him, but he'll kind of just accept that he's rolling into the finish. Jacek Rohrback going past Lisa Snell there. Jacek, absolutely love this guy. Used to live in West London. Made me go up and down hills behind him. He was a much stronger hill climber than I ever was, to make me fitter. I will be ever grateful for those evening rides, Jacek, and it's fantastic to see you wearing our kit in our races. B. Stevens from South Africa coming in 61st position there, and he just dips his head as he crosses the line. Jones now coming in and 62nd. I didn't actually see where Jonathan Crane finished. I shall have to see whether he finished or not. Chessman coming in, Sullivan, Gautam Thakkar in that little group. Daniel Gaunt there, 75th, but we're actually on McKinley in 66th. So Daniel Gaunt obviously a lap down on the Canadian here, and it's little messages on the side. Tim Cummins saying, well, it's tough, cheers Dave, and Simon Miller saying something as well. What did Simon Miller say? Well done, OTR, thanks Dave. Dave is me, of course. Castro is the next rider to cross the line in 67. Jensen is coming over too. Shields and Lou, the South African here, or Lau, probably not quite sure of the pronunciation, in the Wahoo jersey now. 450 metres to go, and you get a feel for this course now. In real life, it doesn't. On the left hand side there's no trees, on the right hand side there's a little bit of a bank and then some trees. So as you ride down, apart from the trees, it doesn't. It kind of feels like this. You can just see to the end there, and there's that bend, and you know when you turn that bend, you're in that final short straight that goes past the clubhouse. So this kind of gives you a feel for what it actually looks like in real life. As I say, there's a little bit of banking on the right hand side. You go around this bend, there's actually a clubhouse just on your right. In fact, if you want to see what it looks like in real life, there's a one lap preview on the www.westlondoncycling.com previews to this race. If you go into one of the previews and posts, you'll see a link, but it's actually on the West London Cycling YouTube channel as well, if you can't find it on that. And again, we get this view coming down that straight, just hitting that bend into the final short straight before our finishing line. Our finishing line is actually on the bend. It wouldn't be Jacek saying thank you in the messages there as well. Great to have you along, Jacek. I remember when I first started putting these races on, and Jacek used to do them on rollers, and I was just absolutely flabbergasted. He used to do the power meter on rollers. So I don't know, he's probably got a smart trainer now. He's in Poland and locked away for the winters. Gilmore coming in 72nd, and we're just going to kind of see how the ladies finish in a moment, because we're getting back to where they are. Zandio from Spain in 73rd in the rather fetching kit, isn't it? That one there, I quite like that. Nice colour scheme. So coming in 73rd. Now, we've got Greasley in 74th. Danielle Gaunt looking like she's going to win the ladies' race today, as Greasley comes in 74th, pushing out 35 kph, which is quite reasonable, through the finish. And here's Danielle in the West London kit. She's going down that straight we described earlier. 35 kph, she'll be quite happy with that. Looks like she's probably going to put up some points on Jessica Wright, but it could be quite close at the end. She's sitting just behind Jessica Wright in the Ladies League at the moment. That competition is based on your best 6 results, so it's not a clear-cut thing that if she finishes 7 places in front of Jessica, she does better. What she needs to do is sort of say, for example, finish. If Jessica finishes equal to her one of her races and therefore gains no points, then if Danielle beats her 6th best ride by 10 points or something, she could overtake Jessica. So it's not easy to tell without going back to the data, because of the complicated way the Ladies League is set out, but there are reasons for setting it up like that. Here's Gail Robinson, the current champion. Will she get enough points to overtake either Danielle or Jessica? Probably not. She's 77th at the moment. Jessica's 81st. 5 points is not going to do it. Gail didn't ride earlier in the season. She was off the bike. She's not quite in the form that she was during the winter series last winter. My guess is that she's been off the bike, and this is her building up for the winter indoor racing, because I think Gail can go. Gail can definitely ride faster than this, I can tell you. So I think this is Gail getting ready for the winter competitions, and she'll just accept it on the chin. She's going to finish 4th in the series. As I say, she was the reigning champion. Ellen Lockett has now won this series, and I think we can assume that Moon Riders have probably won the team competition, but we'll have a check at the end as Gail comes over the line. Asensi, another Spaniard in 78th. Maria Vitsky just sitting on the wheel there, or sitting side by side. This could be a little bit of a sprint. Now, Maria is from Puerto Rico, and she organises quite a few cyclists out there, I believe. The other day she asked me for some. They had a storm, a tropical storm going over Puerto Rico, and she asked me to send her some Magic Road rides so that she could get some of the youngsters riding indoors while the storm passed, which I thought was rather sweet. So I sent her a ride or two. I think it might have only been one actually, but certainly she asked for some rides, and we sent them over, and I believe allowed everybody to carry on with their cycling indoors while this tropical storm passed out there, just north of the Caribbean, of course, and south of Florida, I believe. So Maria just pulling away now, 170 to go. As I say, the Spaniard's sitting on the wheel. Is the Spaniard going to just sit on the wheel and burst past her at the end? 100 metres, this is where the sprints happen. But it's Maria that goes. Look at that. Turn of power by Maria. She's got well clear there now, putting out 42 over the line. Strong finish and absolutely blowing it away in the sprint. Well done, Maria. Fantastic little finish. Here's Jessica, and she'll roll in. Where is she? She's 81st. She'll be happy with that. There's at least 4 riders behind her. Jessica will treat that as a good result. We've got Ada Maria Martinez, Lisa Snell, and Diaz, the Portuguese, just behind. Ignore 85th because that's me, and that's how we film it. 86th, SDB, the Dutch rider there. Is 13 kilometres behind and is putting out no watts per kilogram, so we can assume that that's somebody who's had a drop out. So 84th will be the last position. It looks like it's going to be Diaz because the gap between Lisa Snell and Diaz is too big, and we are enjoying Jessica coming round that final bend. 200 metres to go before the finishing line, and she's just catching up with the camera bot. As you can see just ahead, and she'll be very happy with that, I think. And Lisa probably a bit less so, but I think poor old Lisa, she came out on the club ride with us on Sunday, and a couple of guys, there was a couple of punchers early on, and we were playing catch up. It's Lisa coming home. Daniel coming home. Ada Maria Martinez here, first ride in here. She'll pick up points. Great to see her along. Encouraged, of course, by Maria, who we've just been watching. So great Puerto Rican presence in these. It's fantastic to see. And she just gets out of the saddle, pushes it a bit more, hitting 40 to come through the finishing line, and just snip a second or two off the time. Here's Lisa, as I say, poor old Lisa. So we went out on the club ride, and a couple of guys had some punctures and things at the beginning, and the club ride is split into various groups. There's several groups all going off, and because of the punctures, we were a bit behind everybody else, and everybody wants to be at the cafe at the same time, halfway around the ride. So we went rather fast trying to catch everybody else up, which was a bit unfair with Lisa, and I know that we probably took a little bit out of her on Sunday, so she's forgiven for perhaps having a slightly more restful ride as she crosses or comes into, and halfway round the final lap for her, 700 metres to go. As I say, we did push it a little bit in the early part of the ride on Sunday, a little bit unfairly, but she did remarkably well, actually. I was quite impressed. So here we go, 500 metres to go. She's coming round into that final straight, and you just look along it. It's got a couple of kinks. Although our races start down by the clubhouse, it's kind of an actual start-finishing line that a lot of the crit races do, which she's just passing now. It's about here for a lot of the crit races that happen. Mish West Thames is probably the main promoter down there, who run a Tuesday night series on this track. Very well attended by some very good riders, and you get some top quality riders who just turn up, sort of ex-pros and things like that, who just turn up and perhaps don't go for the series, but really is top local riders in those Mish West Thames races run by Chris Denman. Look out for those. As say, Tuesday nights during the summer months at the Hillingdon Circuit here. So we're coming back into the little straight by the clubhouse where we start and finish our races, which is a slightly different place to, as I say, most of the crit racing that takes place at Windsor, at Hillingdon. I don't know why I said Windsor. We did go through Windsor on the club ride on Sunday, so perhaps where that came from. So Dias, the Portuguese. Only everybody I know called Dias has come from Goa, but of course that was Portuguese, so that probably explains where the name comes from. So Dias, the Portuguese, now coming in rather a nice cycling kit. I didn't like the bottle on that. It's quite novel. Obviously available on the RGT wardrobe section of their website. We can also get the West London kit if you want. 50 metres to go. Dias finishes, and that's about it, because Dias is last. The only bike left on the road is my camera bot, and thank you very much for watching. We'll have a look at where that leaves all the standings next, as we congratulate Ned Bowen and Ellen Lockett, and we see where everybody else finished in the series. But first, tonight's results. Nick Greenhalgh there, the clear winner. Tom Gates, very great result for the upright man for Team Draft, beating Lorenzo Simons. James Melville slipping to fourth. Wouter Clay's pinching fifth, ahead of Anders Ostergaard. But Ned Bowen 13th. The gap wasn't big enough for Wouter to take the title away from Ned, who is champion again. Other great names up there: Doug Hart, John Samet. We see Carl Goethe, who we've got Andrew Sutherland in the hand cycle, Henrik Mard, Alistair McAlpine as well, I see in there. So where does that leave us? Ned Bowen is the champion ahead of Wouter Clays. James Melville, a popular rider in the series, picking up third place just ahead of Tom Gates and former champion Nick Greenhalgh, with Johan Olossi, who helped format some of these competitions. Mark Rogbottom in 7th, Alistair McAlpine, the other Glasgow United rider, pipping Doug Hart in 9th, and Carl Dickerson from South Africa, New Zealand in 10th. Teams wise, Moon Riders, as I said, Pippin, Ratio Racing and Draft yet again. Great performance by Glasgow United, not quite enough to take third place ahead of Team Sanso. Looking at the Ladies League, Ellen Lockett, as we said, has won it. Jessica Wright just pipped Daniel Gaunt. They got the same amount of points from the best 6 races, but Jessica took the tie-break on having more points overall from riding more races. Ladies teams, West London VR won it some time ago. Wouter Clay's compensation for finishing second in the general classification takes the best 6 results and the best 12 results categorisations. So 2 trophies there, plus a Moon Riders one. So that's 3 more trophies on Wouter's shelf. Ned will welcome the addition of another GC classification on his shelf. And everybody else, make sure I've got an address for your team or whatever if you've finished first. So the teams who finish first, best of 6, Dirty Dozen, all get first place prizes. In the general classification in the Ladies League, there are first, second and third trophies to be sent out. And don't forget, Series 6 starts in 2 weeks' time, so we'll see you on the start line in 2 weeks' time.